This is Damon Dash, and this is the Dash Diabetes Network. I might not be a doctor, but I'm definitely in a doctor's state of mind. I've tried to live a normal life, and I've never been able to get it under control. And when I was introduced to this Afrezza, number one, the thought of not having to use a needle all day is always a great thought, but being in control, it was just like a dream. And when I first started to use the Afrezza, Anthony, and I want to introduce Anthony, immediately started to text me, and he immediately started to give me an awareness on how to manage the insulin, and relatively fast, I got where I needed to go. And I thought it was important that we understood his story. So I want to introduce Anthony, and I want you to explain yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
I went on this kick for a few months to try to learn all I could about diabetes because, I wasn't taught how to count carbs back then. That information wasn't available. Nutritional information wasn't available on packages back then. So we weren't counting carbs. And I remember my doctor telling my mom, said he can eat whatever he wants as long as he takes his insulin. And that's what I did. So I was eating stuff like Lucky Charms for breakfast, Fruit Loops.
Bugging.
Yeah, toast, whatever, pancakes, whatever
Pancakes? You was eating pancakes?
I was eating pancakes for breakfast, So when I finally went to the doctor, I had my A1C tested. And again, I thought I was in the 8s. I was 10.8. And that's when I thought I was doing well. So I can only imagine, I must have been in the teens drinking. I drank whatever I wanted. Diet-wise, but I'm drinking beers, eating anything I wanted. Potatoes, bread, pasta, pizza. So then my doctor tried me on two newer insulins, Humalog and Lantus. And so once I tried those two, after being on N and R for so many years, I thought it was the greatest thing. I started seeing somewhat flat lines, and I thought this was amazing stuff. So then I started researching more, and I found out about Afrezza. And I was at a conference in Las Vegas, the Unconference. It's the first time actually I'd been surrounded by a bunch of other diabetics, whether it's type 1, type 2. And I remember from across the room, I hear someone say that they were on Afrezza, the inhaled insulin. And I never saw who it was. And as soon as I went home, I just Googled everything about Afrezza.
So just like a voice in the air?
It was, yeah. Went to the endocrinologist as soon as I was able to get in. He was all for it. He told me, he said, I would rather my patients inject their insulin, or in this case, inhale it, because at least they know what you're getting. Where a pump, you can have some, issues with it. And I'm not trying to downplay a pump, and it probably works great for some people, but it was not something I ever wanted to be connected to. Again, I was an active kid, swimming. You can't do that with ease when you're on the pump.
I can't mess with the pump even.
So he started me on Afrezza, and I was his first patient on it.
Let's revisit. What's your A1C?
Our high 4s, low 5s.
Now, how do you maintain that? I need to know.
So I have the luxury of wearing a Dexcom CGM.
I wear one of those.
I set my high alert for 120.
120 is your high alert?
120 is my high alert. I think if I could set it lower, I would, but it stops at 120.
Right.
You call it sugar surfing. So whenever it hits that high mark, then I go and puff on my insulin.
So, okay, so your alarm goes off when it's at 120.
If my alarm goes off at 120, I'll take 4 units of Afrezza, brings me right back down to range.
In the 90s. And how's your diet?
The one real way to improve your health, to see these flat lines and get away from these roller coasters, is to eat a low carb, high fat, high protein diet.
So what's that mean? What's that mean in a meal?
A meal would be chicken with green beans, and it would be...
No rice?
No rice.
No potatoes?
High in carbs. No.
So you don't do that?
No, now I do. Now that I'm on Afrezza, I can control that with my Afrezza. So today, perfect example, I went out to lunch, I had 3 slices of pizza.
You had 3 slices of pizza?
I had 3 slices of pizza. And
how much did you take?
I took 12 units when I ate. I can show you my graph. There was not even a blip today.
You took the 12 before?
I took the 12 right when my pizza was delivered.
And it never went over what?
I don't think it went over 103.
What?
Yeah. So, but the beauty of Afrezza is that it's so predictable. I know if I take the right dose, like the 12 units for my pizza, that in 12 to 15 minutes, I will see a change in my graph.
But won't the pizza, the dough and stuff start to kick in like an hour?
And so that's the other thing about Afrezza, but that's like anything. That's like someone on a pump. You got to set different basal rates for whatever you're doing. So it's not one thing to cover everything. And that's, again, it's so rapid.
So you eat 3 pizzas and it kicks in an hour, what's covering it?
Right, so then I followed up with a dose after 90 minutes because it's like clockwork for me. And everyone's different.
So but basically your blood sugar is better than the average human being?
I am in the non-diabetic levels right now.
So what's your blood sugar right now?
Right now, 89.
Yeah, let's have a blood sugar off.
It just went up to 90.
All right, so look, I'm competitive, 138. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking around. If you want to learn more about being a diabetic and being cool while you're diabetic and the lifestyle of a diabetic, check out the Dash Diabetes Network. Holla back.
To those with diabetes, mealtime is really time to think about insulin. When do I prepare? Where do I inject? But Afrezza lets you inhale your insulin when food arrives, even unexpectedly. So you can be spontaneous and not rely solely on injections.
Afrezza is a rapid-acting inhaled insulin used to control adult diabetes. Afrezza can cause serious side effects, including sudden lung problems and low potassium. Afrezza is not for patients with chronic lung disease, such as asthma or COPD. Tell your doctor if you smoke, recently stopped smoking, have ever had kidney or liver problems, a history of lung cancer, or if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Most common side effects are low blood sugar, cough, and sore throat. Severe low blood sugar can be fatal. Do not replace long-acting insulin with Afrezza. Afrezza is not for use to treat diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not take Afrezza if you are allergic to insulin.
Can we get some dessert?
Talk to your doctor before changing your Afrezza dose. Blood sugar may need to be checked more frequently.
Ask your doctor if Afrezza inhalable insulin is right for you.